Welcome back to Dreams Don't Expire. I'm your host, Just Janae. So there's a line from Alice in Wonderland that hit me right in the heart. I just heard this for the first time and I really heard it. It's no use going back to yesterday because I was a different person then. Alice says that after she's fallen down the rabbit hole. Everything has changed size and shape and nothing makes sense anymore. And she's trying to figure it out, who she even is now. And I felt that in my chest because I have spent a lot of life trying to go back, trying to explain myself using who I used to be. And I want to talk today about why that doesn't work. And what starts to change when you finally start letting the person from yesterday go. Most of you know my story. I grew up dirt poor. I barely got my GED. I raised my kids and they became my world. And I wouldn't change that, but I lost myself. I forgot who I was outside of a mom and a wife, and I forgot what I even liked. And then through multiple things, I ended up in survival mode. Not thinking about dreams, not thinking about potential, just about getting through to the next day. That Janae, well, she was real and she worked hard and she loved her kids fiercely, but she believed some things that weren't true. She believed money was for other people, not her. Too poor. She believed that she wasn't the kind of woman who writes a book or starts a company or stands in front of a room and tells people what she knows. For years, every time I thought about doing something bigger, she showed up. And you know what she'd say? Who do you think you are? You didn't even finish school, right? People like us don't do that. Well, here's the thing. She wasn't wrong about the facts, but she was wrong about what the facts meant. I got lucky and I ended up with some amazing people in my life that became dear friends and mentors. And they helped me learn to like myself, learn to love myself, see my potential. They changed who I was. They got me out of survival. They gave me the tools to get myself out of survival when I was about as hopeless as I'd ever been. Now, they didn't fix my situation. What they did was harder. They questioned what I believed about myself. One of them used to ask me a question every time I fell on my face. What did you learn? Not why did you fail? Not what's wrong with you. I did a lot of that myself, right? But just what did you learn? And that question, repeated and repeated and repeated, finally rewired something in me. Failure stopped being proof that I wasn't enough. It became information. And slowly I started separating the facts of my life from the story I'd been telling about those facts and what they meant about me. It isn't just the story, it's the meaning we put behind it. Yeah, I grew up dirt poor, but that doesn't mean that there's never enough money, right? But that's what I believed. Yeah, I wasn't highly educated, but that doesn't mean I'm not smart. It doesn't mean I can't be successful. You ever thought that? I would love to think I'm the only one who has, but I know I'm not. So here's what I didn't understand until much later. I kept trying to go back to yesterday to make sense of today. I tried to reconcile the girl who barely got her GED with the woman who wanted to write a book. Trying to get permission from my past to move into my future. I brought that girl with me everywhere. But Alice is right. It's not of use. That girl, while she's real and she got me here, she is not who decides what happens next. She's a different person, living a different chapter, believing what she needed to believe to survive it. I'm not her anymore. And I don't owe her an explanation for who I've become. Don't owe her anything. I owe her gratitude for getting me where I am. I owe her gratitude for getting me through the hard. But she got me to the next day. And then there was a new version of me who got me to the next day. And every time I try bringing that girl from the past to help make decisions about my future, it stops me. It makes me play small. And I need to leave her in the past. You know, lately I've had a moment, or moments, I should say, where I feel like I'm standing still, like nothing's really moving. I've had a few people remind me of how much I've actually accomplished. 10 months ago, I quit my job of 12 years. 8 months ago, I published my book, Rise, Believe, Become. 7 months ago, I started a podcast. And then I helped create a women's group. And then I started writing articles for a newspaper. And I did a workshop for women. And I started my consulting company. And if I look at it, that's a lot in less than a year. But people had to remind me because I was looking at it and going, you haven't got to where you want. You're not getting anywhere. Well, that's not me. That's not the girl today. That's the girl from back then who is showing me, nope, still not where you need to be. Do you have the ability to get there? Well, if I listen to her, I probably don't. But when I shut her down and don't let her meaning come into today, if I don't let her mindset come with me to the future, I am going to have a brighter future. When I let her mindset on money, on anything come, it's going to prevent me from being as successful as I want to be. It's going to prevent me from being the version of me that I want. It's going to prevent me from my potential because she didn't know she had any. So if she didn't know she had any potential, why would I let her have a say in today? Why would I even bring her with me? But we do. And we don't even realize it half the time. We need to absolutely quiet that version of ourselves and remind us that it does us no good. That baby who's learning how to walk doesn't bring the version of itself that's still crawling forward. Once they learn how to walk, they quit crawling. So why are we bringing an older version now that we know how to walk? Why are we crawling anywhere? We don't need to. Think about that. Think about how far you've come and know that you need to get rid of yesterday's version of you. You need to not see things through yesterday's eyes. You need to see things through today's eyes. Think about that. So none of what I built came from the girl in survival mode. giving her blessing. It came from me finally understanding I didn't need it. And it's still true even on the days that it doesn't feel that way. Now, I have to fight it because I don't have a thought, and then magically it's fixed. Wish I did. She randomly tries to come back up and put herself in it. But that older version does me no good, and I have to stop her. So here's what I want you to know. If you're listening and there's a version of you from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 30 years ago, who still gets a vote on what you're allowed to want now, I want you to hear this clearly. You don't have to defeat her. You don't have to prove her wrong. You just don't have to go back and ask her permission anymore. She was a different person. She was doing her best with what she had, with what she believed at the time, and you get to believe something different now. It's not going to be easy. And there are going to be moments where you're going to maybe even feel like you're betraying yourself, where you're not authentic. But that's not true. You're just growing into your potential. Stop letting the past choose your present. Before you go, I want you to name one thing this week. Name the belief that your yesterday self or your 5-year self handed you that you're still carrying about money or worthiness or who gets to do big things. Write it down and then write one small action you can take that only makes sense if that belief isn't true. You get to decide what's true, not them. You're going to have to fight because they come back. Here's what I want you to remember. Dreams don't expire, but sometimes the person you used to be needs to expire. Not with shame, but with gratitude. And then a goodbye. Say goodbye to the version that no longer helps you. Just say goodbye. They don't need to come forward with you.